In this video, we're going to see Stripe online payments fully working flow based on a diagram which I prepared, and then follow that flow and implement online payments in Laravel. Even if you are not a Laravel developer, this video will still be relevant for you. The main purpose of this video is to focus on the correct flow which you should implement in your desired programming language. Hello everyone, my name is Zura and I'm the Codeholic. On this channel, I share my 10+ years of experience working as a professional software developer. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. First, I'm going to share the diagram and show Stripe online payments fully working and correct flow. Then I'm going to create the Laravel project and prepare a database with products and orders, implement the checkout page, correctly handle the redirect URLs, and finally implement webhooks as well. Again, the main purpose of this video is not focus on Laravel. The main purpose right here is to focus on the flow and the process, how the online payment checkout process should be implemented. If you want to see the fully working Laravel e-commerce project, stay tuned because I'm working on that and it will be released soon. Before we jump into the video, my friend told me that whenever you open a YouTube video and click the like button, and then you come back after 1 year, your like is not there. Okay, let's test this everyone and hit the like button and then check this video after 1 year if our likes are still there. All right, let's jump into the video and start with the diagram. This video is sponsored by IPRoyal. IPRoyal is one of the best proxy service provider with more than 2.8 million IPs. Their main goal is providing safe, private and unrestricted access to online information and other resources for companies and individuals worldwide. IPRoyal allows clients to use a proxy server whenever they connect to the internet from any device. The proxy server acts as an intermediary between the client's device and every other online server. It takes all requests sent from the device, replaces the client's IP address with its own, and sends the request to the destination. The destination servers send a response to the proxy, which then forwards it to the client's device. Getting a proxy in a different region allows our clients to access restricted content like streaming services, e-commerce websites, or gaming platforms not available in their home country. I have partnered up with IPRoyal and they provided a coupon code with a 50% discount for my YouTube channel subscribers on Royal Residential Proxies. Royal Residential Proxies have several great features. They are available in almost 200 countries. The traffic you buy never expires. You have possibility to randomize countries and IPs. You can have unlimited concurrent sessions, and there are a few other great features. The registration is free. Register now and find out more about their proxies on their customer dashboard. When creating an order for Royal Residential Proxies, enter coupon code ZURA to get 50% discount. The deal won't last long, so make sure you check it. Alright, let's understand what is the correct flow of Stripe online payments checkout process. And we start step by step. Very simple thing. You have your browser which communicates to your server. Your browser displays the products and has the cart functionality, and you can add items into the cart and then click on proceed to checkout. Your server right here might be any backend technology, basically PHP, Node.js, Python, Java, etc. Okay, and your browser communicates to your server actively. Now, when user clicks proceed to checkout button, the request is made to your server to generate session and for the specific products. The server basically will make a request to the Stripe server. There is somewhere involved Stripe server as well. And the Stripe server basically communicates with many other websites like yours who has this checkout functionality. Okay, and when the browser makes request to generate session to your server will make requests to the Stripe server. But your server also holds the secret key. The request is made with the secret key to the Stripe server. Otherwise, Stripe will not know who you are. And the secret key can be taken from the Stripe's admin dashboard. Alright, next, the Stripe server will generate a session object and return to your server. Now your server has the session object. What to do next? Your server will make a unpaid order and save that in database and associate the received session ID to that order. Okay, there will be an order in your database with the session ID, Stripe just generated, and the order status will be unpaid. Next, the server, your server, will generate, will take the session URL taken from this object, okay? And there are two options, basically. Your server can redirect user to the session URL directly, or your server will return the session ID to the browser, to the client, and client will redirect user to the payments page. In any case, the result will be the same. We will see something like this, Stripe checkout form, where you have the email and card information and name. And whenever user fills up that information, then the user will be either redirected to the success page or failure page. And we configure the success page and failure page when we ask Stripe to generate a session. We provide right there success URL and cancel URL. So right here, let's say that everything was successfully done, then the user will be redirected to the success URL. If there is some failure, user will be redirected to cancel URL. Okay, and I found most of the tutorials out there not covering a couple of very important things when mentioning the Stripe checkout flow. For example, whenever user is redirected to the success URL, we're going to show the success message. And most of the tutorials basically show success message and that's it. But there are a few important things which, in my personal opinion, every developer should implement in their Stripe checkout flow. For example, when we configure the success URLs at this stage at point 2 and provide right there success URL and the cancel URL, we can specify to the success URL the session ID as well, which means that whenever user is redirected to the browser on the success URL, the URL will contain session ID right there as well. And that is very important to validate that session later. Okay, so whenever his user is redirected to the success URL, the request is made to your server. And of course, the server will have an access to the session ID as well. At this moment, we take the session ID and we're going to make a request to the Stripe server, passing that session ID, passing our secret token, and ask to validate that session ID. Okay, and Stripe will validate that for us and return the session object. Now we have that session object, and at this moment we're going to take the order, we're going to make a query in the database, select an unpaid order based on the session ID, and we're going to mark this order. First we're going to check if we have this order with the session ID. Okay, and if we have that order, then we're going to mark this order as paid. And we're going to return, in this moment, we're going to return the success page to the user at point 12 right here. Okay, so whenever the success URL is accessed, the server will validate that session ID and then mark the order as paid and render the success page only after that. Okay, but here is important but. So whenever user fills up the payment form, credit card form, before the redirect happens to the browser, the internet connection might be lost, the power might be off, or user might mistakenly close the tab. And the redirect simply will not happen. So in this case, money will be taken from the user's card, but the redirect will not happen, session ID will not be passed to the server, validation will not be passed, and the server will not mark the order as paid. The order will still stay unpaid. What to do to avoid this? There's a Stripe dashboard which communicates to the Stripe server. And from this dashboard, we can do many things, see payments, etc., but we can configure the webhooks. Webhooks are special URLs on which Stripe will make requests whenever something happens. There are many events in the Stripe dashboard you can configure webhooks for, and in this case, we're going to cover checkout events. So in the Stripe webhooks area, we will configure where to make query, where to make request from the Stripe server whenever the checkout process completes. Okay, and at this moment, whenever user fills up the information and the payment was taken from the card, Stripe server will make request. Stripe server will basically send a request to your server, and passing the information about the payment, the session ID and the amount, etc. So many information basically will be passed to your server. And in this moment, your server can take the session ID sent from this webhook and can validate that session ID, check if there is order, the point 10 basically repeats, check if there is order with the received session ID, and if the order exists, we're going to mark this order as paid. Okay, so this is the full flow, which in my opinion, every developer should implement in their Stripe online payments checkout. All right, now let's follow this flow and implement it in Laravel. Let's first create a new Laravel project. I'm going to open CMD, navigate into the folder I want to create my Laravel project, and run Laravel new and the project name. I'm going to call it Stripe full flow. By the way, if this command doesn't work, make sure you have Laravel installer installed globally using a composer. I'm going to hit enter. It's going to take a few minutes. I'm going to pause the recording and then come back. Quick pause right here. The only thing I ask for is like, subscribe, and share. But if you really love my content and want to do something even more, check my donation pages, Patreon, and buy me a coffee. I really appreciate every single cent you donate. And it's going to give me much more motivation to keep creating free educational content. I also created Discord server, which is at the moment only available for my Patreons. So as soon as you become a Patreon, you will have access to the Discord server on which you can ask your questions, post your problems, and I will personally assist you there. Sorry for interruption. Let's get back to the video. Okay, the project was successfully created. Let's navigate into the folder, Stripe full flow, and I'm going to open this using PHP Storm. So the project is also opened. It asks me to run npm install. I'm going to click here. And now let's first configure the env. So I'm going to change the DB connection from MySQL into SQLite. Basically, we have to comment out everything, and I'm going to create one file under database, and the file name should be database.sqlite. I'm going to open the terminal. I think I cannot create it from terminal because I'm using now PowerShell, not Git bash. Okay, let's create this manually. There's going to be a new file. The file context menu, file creation context menu doesn't show up for some reason. Database.sqlite. Let's hit the enter. That should be a new file. And now we can already run migrations. PHP artisan migrate. Let's hit the enter. Okay, yeah, it worked. Now let's prepare database. I'm going to create two models for products and for orders, and I'm going to configure them, and then we can start working on the checkout. PHP artisan make model product, and I'm going to generate migration as well as factory, and I need seeder and controller for product as well. Let's hit enter. I think all of them were created, and let's create the second model, PHP artisan make model. In this case, that's going to be order, and we only need migration for order. Now let's open migrations, products, and we have to create a few columns right here. On the product table, I want to define a string, which is going to be name of the product. We can give it a length as well, and that must be required field. We're going to have also price string, not string, but decimal price. Let's give it like a 6 totally and 2 after comma, and we're going to have image. What am I writing? Come on. Table string image, like 1024 characters, and that can be actually nullable. Okay, and let's create second migration, and not create, but write second migration for orders. For orders, we're going to have status, order status. We're going to have total price, string, not string, decimal, total price, 612. We are going to have what else? Session ID, string session ID, and that's going to be the session ID from the Stripe, and we're going to have user ID, probably user ID, for which will connect to the authorized users, but because we are not going to actually implement the authentication and authorization, so let's skip this for now. But we're going to assume that in a production application, of course, the orders will have user IDs. Now I'm going to bring up the terminal and run php artisan migrate. Okay, the migrations have been created. Now let's go in the app HTTP controller and product controller, and let's render products. Public function index, we're going to accept request right here. And we're gonna select the products, but we haven't actually created the products. So let's open product factory for now and define right here. So for name, I'm gonna use faker package for that. That's gonna be some simple name, some simple text. Let's use some simple text. We're gonna have price, which will be decimal or float, random float from maybe 1000, from 100 up to 1000. NB max decimals. Max decimals can be 2, minimum is 100, and maximum is 1000. And we're gonna have image, fake, image URL. Let's do it like this. Oops. Okay, so we have the factory. I think we created product seeder as well, inside which we can create products. So product factory, I want to create like only 3 products, let's say. Create, okay, and let's now open database seeder, and here we're going to write this call passing the array. We're going to use product seeder class. All right, let's seed php artisan db seed. Let's hit the enter. Okay, that was successfully run. And now let's select the products on the product controller. Products equal product, let's get all. Okay, and we're going to return view product.index passing the products right here. Let's go now in resources, views, and I'm going to create right here new blade file, product/index.blade.php. Let's hit the enter. And we have the welcome blade, obviously, so I can copy everything from the welcome blade and put this in the index blade. I'm not going to work on the layouts because this is a very simple application and I don't want to demonstrate how to create layouts. We're just going to demonstrate the checkout process. Okay, so I'm going to remove also everything, the styles and fonts, and this part as well, and remove this body as well. Okay, so I get products right here. So I'm going to iterate over my products. Products is product, and we have end for each right here, and we have a div for each product. And let's actually output first in H2 maybe product name. Okay, and let's spin up the artisan server. PHP artisan serve. Let's hit the enter. Okay, so we have that. Now let's open browser and type here localhost port 8000, and here we see our application. However, I think we need to run, let's reload the page. We need to run, first we need to change the root, because right now it renders welcome page. So if we go in the web.php right here, let's remove this and change this into product controller index. So if we save and reload, we're going to see the product titles. Okay, these are the product titles. All styles are lost, but that's fine. So I can add inline styles right here. So this one, for example, can have display flex, and this one can have flex 1. Okay, just like this, we have 3 items, and we can specify right here gap to be like 2 rem between them. Okay, so we have 3 items. Let's change this into H5, and we're gonna have image as well. So let's quickly render this product image, and we're gonna have price. Let's put this in the paragraph. Product price, and let's have a look. So these are our products. Let's give it a width of like let's give it max width of 100%. Okay, so we have the products, and now I'm going to put right here a button which will check out all those 3 products. Okay, so let's put the $sign here. So down below, I'm going to put paragraph and button inside there. That should be checkout functionality. However, we're going to see that button somewhere. Here it is, the button. Let's actually wrap this everything in its own div, and the div will have style, display, flex, and gap 3 rem. And let's put this right here, and let's remove it from here. Okay, now down below we have this checkout button. However, now it's like we're going to implement this Stripe functionality. So when the user clicks checkout, we're going to make post request to our server. Okay, if we go in the product controller, we're going to create checkout, which should be only accessed using post. So if we open now web PHP, let's configure post request is accepted on checkout, and we're going to use the checkout method. Let's change this into use. Okay, now we have the checkout. Let's go in the index and change this into form. We're going to have action to route. Let's call it checkout, and the method will be post. We're going to have CSRF, and we're going to have button inside there. Okay, now I format the code, and if we go in the web, let's give this one name to be checkout. Now, whenever we reload the page and click checkout, the form is submitted to checkout. Okay, and now we have to generate the Stripe session. But first, we have to install Stripe CLI. I'm going to open a new terminal and run php require stripe/stripe. Excuse me, we have to install Stripe PHP package. Okay, not Stripe CLI yet. So we're going to hit, excuse me, what's going on to me today? So we're going to install the Stripe. And let's now look for also documentation. Stripe accept payments. Okay, this is the documentation we're looking for. Let's click right here. So we have the accept payment flow. Let's scroll down below. We have to set up Stripe first. We have to install Stripe PHP. Then we have to submit and create checkout session. And this is the thing we're gonna do. Okay, so as far as we already have Stripe PHP package, we have to set the API key. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this part and go in our checkout. By the way, the Stripe package was successfully installed. Go in our controller and put this right here. However, this is not our key, so I'm gonna remove that. I'm gonna set this key a little bit later, and then we have to create session. So let's put this, and we're going to explain everything here as well. And then we're going to redirect user to this session URL. Okay, so return redirect into session URL. Okay, So first, we set the API key. Now let's take the API key. So I'm going to go into my Stripe dashboard. If you don't have Stripe account, of course, you need that. At the moment, I have only test mode activated in my Stripe dashboard. So I'm going to look for, basically, if I scroll down right here for developers, I have this publishable key and secret key. So I click this reveal test key, and then I'm going to copy that. Then I'm going to copy that and go in, and I can paste this right here directly, or better is to open env, create down below Stripe secret key and paste it right here. Okay. Now I'm going to take that Stripe secret key and I'm going to use env function to get that value. Okay, I configured that. And now I have to provide the products, what we're going to check out. So for this, we have to pass correct line items, where each line item has the product price data as well as the quantity. So let's create now line items array and iterate over the products what we have, and the products what we are checking out is at the moment all the products. Imagine that you have those products added into the cart. Okay, then right here you would select only those products which are added into the cart. And by the way, if you want to see how to build a fully functional e-commerce website, check my upcoming video. It will be released really soon. It is multiple hours, full process from starting from scratch, building like an admin panel to managing the products, checkout process, see reports, everything basically. So let's now select all the products. Like I'm going to copy this line. These are the products we're going to check out. Oops. Okay. For products is product. And I'm going to create line items, push a new line item right here. Let's copy these and let's specify right here line items. Let's paste this right here. And what are we going to specify? So the name will be product name. Unit amount is the price. And we're going to take the product price and multiply this on 100 because we have to specify price in cents, USD cents. And the quantity will be, at the moment, we have only one, so we can specify it 1. Right here, we have possibility to specify images as well. So let's specify product image. However, when building an application and you have your images hosted on localhost and the images are not accessible from remote, then this might cause problems and Stripe might complain not a valid URL. Okay, so if that happens on you, just comment out this line and test locally like this. Okay, and then we are providing basically line items, and we have to provide right here success URL and the cancel URL. Okay, for this, we're going to create 2 more URLs right here. One will be success, second will be cancel, and let's open web.php and create those roles as well. Success, and let's call it checkout success. Let's duplicate this and checkout cancel. Okay, so we have those URLs, and now let's configure them right here. So I'm going to use root, specify right here the name, checkout success. We're going to specify argument as an empty string, and I'm going to specify the third argument for absolute URLs to be true, because we need absolute URLs because the redirect will happen from the Stripe domain to our domain, and we need absolute URLs. So I'm going to copy them, paste it right here. That's going to be cancel. Okay, but what else do we need here? We need to create order. So look at this. We prepared the data, we created this session, and that returned, Stripe returned session. Now we have to take the session ID and save it in our database and associate it in our order. So let's create now order equals new order. and we have a couple of fields. Like I'm going to set the status to be unpaid. On production applications, it's better to have an enum with a couple of order statuses and use the enum values rather than hard-coded. Then we have, what do we have? We have the total price, and let's calculate the total price right here. Total price will be 0, and then right here, I'm gonna set the total price plus equals product price. Okay, and then we set the total price. And do we have anything else? Date. Let's have a look right here. We have the session ID. Okay, status, price, and session ID. Let's specify now order session ID, and that corresponds to received session ID. Okay, so additionally on a production applications, like you're gonna have order items as well, and you take those items which probably come from the cart and save it in the order items, and the order items are associated in the order. Okay, that full flow is shown in my e-commerce project, which will be released soon. But for now, we're focusing on the Stripe checkout process. Okay, and we have the order, and let's save the order. Okay, and then we redirect user to the session URL. Okay, so let's import the order. I think that's not imported. App models order. Save that, and now let's have a look. So right here we reload the page and we click checkout button. Let's wait a few seconds, and we are redirected to the Stripe checkout page. And on the left side, we see those 3 products we passed. Okay, prices for each and the total price as well. If we specify right here quantities 2, then the price will be double, and each individual product will have also quantity 2. Let's specify right here fake credit card, test credit card details, like this, and I'm gonna specify name, and whenever we click pay and the payment happens, we will be redirected to the success URL. Okay, and on that success URL, we won't have any kind of information, only we will be able to show success message. Let me create a simple success message, product checkout success. Let's quickly go in the index blade, and I'm going to duplicate this and call checkout success. Let's click OK. This is the checkout success, and the only thing I'm going to do here is just to write success. Again, we don't care how nice it will be. Success. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, let's click now pay and wait a few seconds. Get method is not supported for this route. That's my bad. So if we go in the web PHP, success and cancel should be accepted using get request, because that happens using redirect. So we can simply reload this page and we see success. Okay. However, we don't know from which the redirect came. So anyone basically can access this success URL and we will see success, right? And that is the part where I found that most of the tutorials don't explain it very well. So we have to provide the session ID as well whenever we create right here. So right here at this point, we can specify the checkout session ID. Let's have a look in the documentation as well. So right here, so we have these URL, success URL and cancel URL. If we scroll down below, show a success page. Let's scroll down below again. Okay, if you want to customize your success page, read custom success page documentation. Scroll down below, and right here we have the possibility to specify the session ID. So I'm going to actually copy this part and put this, append this right here. Okay, so basically I'm telling in the success URL, hey, whenever you generate your session and then redirect user to the success URL, take this session ID and pass it into URL. Okay, we have to do this checkout process once again. Let's go on the home page and click checkout. In this case, we will get the session ID in the query parameter. Okay, let's actually do a few things before I continue and fill up the form. So right here, we will get the session ID, and let's actually extract the session ID from request. Let's accept request right here. From request, I'm gonna get session ID. Okay, now I'm gonna make request into Stripe API to take out this session, and we can see also in the documentation how we're gonna do that. So right here we have the session ID, and we're gonna retrieve this session in this way, and then we can get also information about the customer. So I'm gonna copy these two lines and paste them right here. However, we need to set the API key before all requests. So for simplicity, I'm gonna just take this line and put this right here. Okay, set the API key, then we get the session ID, we make requests into Stripe to retrieve the session. Okay, whenever we have this, if we don't have the session, we're gonna show like not found. Okay, we need to do these type of validations as well. Like the session ID can be arbitrary string. Okay, so session, if session doesn't exist, we're gonna throw not found HTTP exception, new not found HTTP exception. Okay, however, if the session ID is invalid, it's gonna throw an exception as well. So we will need probably to put this in try catch, but let's leave this as it is right now. And I'm gonna pass right here also customer information, and in the checkout success, we can simply print out the customer name. $ custom. I think I'm not on a mood of writing today. So customer name. So we save that. And now let's fill up the form. 4242. Okay. And let's specify the customer name here and click pay. Now let's wait for a few seconds. And now our URL contains right here session ID, and we see Zura as well. That's coming from Stripe. That's coming from the session and customer. Okay, and we have the session ID right here. However, if I just modified this session ID, this session ID is something very unique and you can't actually guess. But if like hackers try to modify the session ID, delete one letter or modify that, we're gonna get an exception from Stripe. Invalid request exception, no such checkout session, and we see the session. Okay, so to show users more user-friendly error, we probably need to put this in try catch. We catch all the exceptions. Okay, however, whenever exception happens, we simply don't actually do anything, and or maybe throw new not found HTTP exception. Okay, let's do like this. And right here, we assume we have customer to be null. And whenever the error happens, we obviously should not see the success page. Okay, instead, we see not found. So right here, we see not found, right here, we see not found. And this customer, probably we don't even need that. So now I save this and we reload the page and we see not found. Okay, because the session ID simply doesn't exist. Now, if we put again A at the bottom, that's the valid session ID, and the session was retrieved from Stripe, and we have the information about that. Okay, and now we can take that session ID and identify the order in our database by the session ID. So let's find the order in our database, order where session ID corresponds to session ID, and we're gonna get the order, and we're gonna also select the order which is unpaid, because if you refresh this page multiple times, you always get the success, right? But as soon as user sees success page on this URL, probably then the link should get expired. So right here, I'm going to add, let's first dump if we see the order. Okay, the order was selected from our database. I think we need to get first, not a collection. So we're going to get the app models order, and let me add another where right here, which will be for status. Status needs to be unpaid. Okay, so we select the order. Then if the order doesn't exist, okay, we're going to do an additional check. If the order doesn't exist, we're going to throw new not found HTTP exception again. So this might be a valid session ID for some reason. I don't know. Again, we're doing it maybe an extra security, but this session ID might come from someone else mistakenly. That session ID might be others checkout process session ID. Okay, it might be valid. So we're going to also check if we have order. We are going to make sure that we generated that session previously right here. And if we generated the session, there would be the session ID in the database. So we select the order. If the order doesn't exist, we're going to throw not found exception. Otherwise, we take the order and change its status into paid. And we're going to save the order. And then we show success message to the customer. And that's it. So let's put this right here. Okay, so we have full flow. If I just reload the page, we see success page. However, order was marked as paid. And if I just reload this page, we see not found. Okay, because the URL was already used, user already saw success page. Okay, you don't need to reload the page. You don't need to copy this link and send it to someone else. And whenever someone reloads, he will see success page as well. Of course, it is not like a big problem if you copy this URL and send it to someone else, and someone else will see, hey, checkout process, but your name, that's not a big deal. But in my opinion, it's more correct to basically expire the link if the success message was already displayed once to the user. Okay, but there's one but. Okay, we implemented it seems like we have the full flow. However, the but basically is that whenever you are on a Stripe page and you fill up the information and click pay, and then as soon as the button turns into green and this means that the money was taken from your credit card, you close the tab so that redirect did not happen in your browser. Okay, now the money was taken from your credit card, but the order will stay again unpaid. Okay, so we need to fix this issue. So let's provide credit card details right here. And now I'm going to click pay. And I'm going to close the tab as soon as button turns into green. Okay, you saw that. Now if I go in the dashboard and I will go in the payments, I will see that the latest payment, which happened like few seconds ago, okay, is succeeded. This is the latest payment, very, very latest one. Okay, this is succeeded. However, the order in our database definitely is marked as unpaid because this didn't happen. The redirect didn't happen. So what are we going to do? So that closing tab might happen due to multiple reasons, like user mistakenly closed the tab, or the electricity was off and simply the order wasn't marked as paid. In this case, Stripe supports webhooks. And webhooks are HTTP requests which will be sent to our server for certain type of events. Okay, there are, let's search for webhooks. There, Stripe has various events, and we're not gonna cover all of them, except we're not gonna cover actually all of them, but we're gonna cover only one, and that's the checkout process. Okay, if we go in the webhooks, this is the process explained. You, for example, create an invoice, and then Stripe sends, when the customer pays the invoice, Stripe sends a webhook to you, and you can update the customer. Okay, if we go in the testing local environment, if you have your application on staging or on production, you click this add an endpoint, and right here you have to provide the webhook URL of your application. We don't have webhook URL defined at the moment, so let's define it right here. Webhook. If we go now in the web PHP, we're gonna create right here a webhook URL. However, the request method should be post for webhook. Okay, and also because the request is coming from Stripe, we will have CSRF validation problems if we don't disable CSRF for this URL. So we're going to open CSRF, verify CSRF middleware, and right here we have the protected except array, and we have to provide right here webhook. Okay, this is the URL on which we want to disable CSRF. So we have our webhook ready. Again, if your application is deployed on staging or on production, you have to provide right here a fully functional like your webhook URL. However, we are testing locally. Okay, so I'm going to click test in local environment. In this case, we have to download Stripe CLI. I'm going to click this download the CLI. Let's scroll down below. And we're going to have options to download on our operating systems. Where is that? On Windows, right here. I'm going to click on the following link, just click it right here, and we have to download Stripe, some version, Windows, the following file. So basically scroll down below and we have right here Stripe, some version, Windows. So just click on that and download that. I actually already downloaded that Stripe CLI, and download and extract that. Okay, here's my Stripe CLI, and if we go in the folder, we see a single executable file. All right, now let's go in the browser again. I'm going to close the GitHub, and we actually downloaded successfully. Then we need to log in, and this is also described in the listen to Stripe events right here. So we need to log in now. Okay, here's the my path. I'm going to copy the path, and I'm going to open now CMD and navigate to this path, and then I'm going to call the Stripe exe login. Okay, Stripe exe login. Let's hit the enter. Okay, at the moment it asks me to open the following link in the browser. So I'm going to copy this and open in the browser. And it asks me if this text matches the text displayed in the console in the CLI. And right here we see the following text. So they match. I'm going to click allow access. So access was granted. I'm going to close the tab. So basically now I am already authorized in the Stripe CLI. I think so. Let's hit the enter. We have been already authorized. Okay, so let's close this. And yes, please note, done. The Stripe CLI is configured for your account with your account ID this, and that will expire in 90 days. That's fine. Okay, so let's clear up everything. And then what do we have in the documentation? Now we need to start listening and forward to our local. So basically, whenever the checkout process happens, Stripe cannot make a request to our server because our server is locally hosted. However, the Stripe CLI can listen to those webhooks and forward that to our local installation. So let's copy this and paste this right here, and let's change. We're listening. Our webhook basically locates under port 8000/webhook. Okay, this is where our webhook locates, and this is how we defined in the roles right here. Okay, so let's hit enter. Now we're listening. Ready, you're using Stripe API version something. Your webhook signing secret key is this. We will need that signing secret key later. And now, so we have basically everything what we need, and now we can trigger an event which will come into our webhook. Like we can do the checkout process as well, but let's first test if the event comes into our webhook. So I click and copy this, and basically first I need to open another CMD and navigate into the folder. And then I am going to copy this Stripe trigger and paste this right here. However, we have stripe.exe trigger payment intent succeeded. Okay, so let's hit the enter and let's open the, where is that? Let's open the second terminal right here. And let's hit the enter. Sometimes if you don't hit the enter on Windows CMD, it doesn't show the output. Okay, but right here we see chart succeeded, payment intent succeeded, payment intent created. And 3 requests was made into our webhook. Okay, right here, 3 requests was made and all of them returned with status code 200. But actually that's because we don't return anything from this webhook, right? So, and chart succeeded, payment intent succeeded, and payment intent created. These are the event types which are not relevant for us at the moment. What we need is checkout process. Okay, so now let's actually implement code right here, and then we can go with the flow and make a payment again, test payment using Stripe. So what do we need to do? So we need endpoint secret. Basically, let me copy everything from here. Everything, click on copy, and let's paste this right here. And we don't need this require, and let's remove the comments. Okay, this is Stripe CLI webhook secret, and here's our webhook secret. So I'm going to take this and put this right here. Again, this is at the moment for testing purposes. On production, you will have a different endpoint secret. Basically, we should probably put this in the env as well. So, Stripe webhook secret, and let's paste this right here. Okay, so env Stripe webhook secret. Now we read all the input coming and we construct an event. We construct event based on the payload that's coming, based on the signature header that's also returned with as a response header, and based on the endpoint secret. However, I had like problem on this and I spent a few hours on that. The time in my computer wasn't set correctly, and the construct event didn't work, and I was always getting signature verification exception. Okay, basically this header contains the time as well inside there, and time must be correctly set in your computer. Okay, so now I'm going to return response. Excuse me. So we're going to return response with an empty string, but the status code will be 200. Okay, when the following error happens, and let's return status 400 here as well. However, down below we're going to return status 200, but with an empty content. And right here we have the one of the event types, payment intent succeeded, that was actually triggered right here. All right, now let's check out and have a look. Let's open localhost port 8000 and click checkout right here. And let's observe here as well. Okay, look at this payment intent created. Okay, this is the, when this form is created, then it triggers an event payment intent created, and that event comes to us. Okay, the event basically came right here. However, we don't need to do anything for that specific event. We can even configure on which events the Stripe should send events to our webhook, and that is something we should probably do on production. But let's provide now credit card details here that asks me to verify my mobile number, which I don't want at the moment. Okay, and provide right here name, and now let's hit the enter here again. Wait, let's click pay, and now let's wait right here. So customer created event happened, payment intent succeeded happened, chart succeeded happened, and finally checkout session completed happened. Okay, all those events happened. And of course, at this moment, because we were redirected to the page, we see success URL. But if the tab is closed before redirect, these events will still happen. Stripe will still make requests into our webhook, and the user will not see immediately this success page because the tab will be closed, but user probably will get an email now that, hey, your order has been paid and thank you for that. And we're going to actually do this on production applications. So now I'm going to take this checkout session completed, okay, and we will be able to take out the session ID from there. Okay, so I'm going to support only this event, checkout session completed. And if we go into Stripe dashboard again and we click on received events, okay, those are the events we received. And let's search for checkout session, which is right here. You see, checkout session, and it has the object ID, and this is the session ID. This is the session ID we generated, and then this is the session ID based on which we need to select the order in the database and mark it as paid. Okay, so if right now I copy this session ID and, for example, check in the database, the order will be paid because the redirect happened. But if the tab is closed, the redirect will not happen. Again, I want to be very clear and reproduce the problem again. Okay, let's have a look in this terminal again, and I'm gonna click pay and open the terminal. And as soon as button turns green, what happened? Okay, I'm gonna click pay, and as soon as button turns green, I'm gonna close the tab. Okay, I close the tab and we see right here events. However, at this very moment, I'm sure that the order basically is unpaid. And if we check right here, we're gonna get more events, like we received additional events here. And at the top, we have charge. Let's search for checkout session completed 20 seconds ago. Okay, this is exactly what we need. So basically, I'm going to take data object ID, data object. This is the payment intent. We're going to take the session ID from there, from here. So session ID will be payment intent. That basically is a session, to be honest. So we can call this session, and the session contains much more information. If we scroll down below, we see when it was created, in which currency. We should also see the customer information right here, and we should also see the total amount for the order, basically everything. Okay, and we take this session ID, and then we're going to do something similar we are doing on success. Right here, we're going to select the order. If the order doesn't exist, we return something. Okay, if we select the order by the session ID, the status must be unpaid. And if the order doesn't exist, we set the status to be, if the order doesn't exist, we return not found exception. And no, this is something we have to modify. So basically, because right now we have webhook and we have this redirect as well, one of them will probably webhook will make request, and then redirect will happen. Okay, so first this code will be executed, and later this code will be executed. The ordering, I'm not 100% sure that the ordering will be like this, but I'm sure that both of them will be executed if everything goes successfully. So right here in this checkout, we need to select an order. Let's remove this unpaid where. So we select the order, and if the order exists, okay, in this case, let's do it like this. If the order exists and if the order status is unpaid, then we mark it as paid. Okay, and in this case, we can even send email to customer. Okay, so this is the place we need to do, and obviously down below we're going to return 200. If the order doesn't exist, there might be a reason for that, and we simply don't do anything and we just return 200. So if we move up right here, we should probably do something similar. We need to select an order, okay? And if the order exists, and if the order status equals unpaid, then we basically, let's do like this. If the order doesn't exist with the session ID, we need to throw not found exception in any case. Okay, throw new not found HTTP exception. However, if the order exists, we don't need this here. And if the status is unpaid, we're going to make it paid. In other case, webhook made request first before the redirect happened, and then the order will be actually already paid, and we simply need to show success to the user. Okay, so now let's follow this and do this once again. So let's open localhost port 8000. Let's check out, click on checkout, and open here as well, payment intent created. And now let's observe. Okay, let's click pay and open this. Okay, now look at this, pay attention. Look at this, checkout session completed. That already happened before redirect. And now the redirect happened. So everything basically went well, and we see the success page. And we are sure that even if the tab is closed, the order will definitely be marked as completed. So basically, we need to test this once again. So I am going to open now again localhost port 8000 and checkout. You can test this on your own. Just I want to make sure that you fully understood what I'm talking about. I click pay, and I'm going to close tab as soon as the button turns into green. So I close the tab, and we see checkout session completed. Okay, if we go now in the Stripe dashboard and have a look in the event 6 seconds ago, this is the event. I take this session, and we select the order based on this session and see the status of the order. Okay, this can be done in any URL, like in the cancel. So for example, I'm going to find an order, find, I can use, I think, Tinker as well, but let's put this session ID here, and I'm going to get first. And let's dump the order. Okay, now let's access to localhost/cancel. Hit the enter. Look at this. So we see the order, okay, and the status of the order is paid. And that is paid, even though we close the tab, that is paid because webhook made a request into our webhook URL, and that marked it as paid. Alright guys, that's it for this video, and I hope it was helpful. Stay tuned because, as I mentioned, I'm working on a fully functional Laravel e-commerce project which will be released soon. It's gonna be multiple hours. Don't forget to test the YouTube's like functionality, click the like button, and check after 1 year if our like is still there. The source code of this Laravel project will be available on my GitHub account. I will put also a link in the video description. Alright, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next time.